Good afternoon. My name is Mark Conrad. I'm the president of the Miami Valley Military History Museum in Fairborn, Ohio. With me today is our vice president, retired Air Force Captain Bob Potts. In lieu of the normal speakers series video, we decided that in the spirit of Memorial Day, we would have a final roll call instead. When Memorial Day was created, it was originally known as Decoration Day. And General Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic, when he issued General Order Number 11, said that May 30th would be set aside to strew the graves with flowers, meaning Union soldiers. He wanted to make sure, and he even said that future generations will know that we didn't forget because they'll see these flowers. So from the General Order Number 11 in 1868 into the 1930s, 40s, 50s, Memorial Day, Decoration Day was a big event and a solemn event. It was on May 30th. Schools, stores, banks closed, and there were parades throughout cities, followed by solemn services at the grave of these soldiers. Unfortunately, unlike Veterans Day, which is November 11th, where we recognize those who served but were discharged or honorably retired when their time was up, or Armed Forces Day, which we just celebrated this past May 17th, where we honor the men and women who are still serving. Memorial Day has, by and large, lost its meaning. In the early 1970s, Congress, attempting to do the right thing, created this holiday 3-day weekend. I believe that's when Memorial Day really began to lose its meaning and fade from our memory. Because now it meant that Memorial Day was not a solemn day to strew graves with flowers. Memorial Day became the first day of summer, time for the swimming pools to open, people are having barbecues, we're being bombarded with those fake patriotic commercials wanting to sell us mattresses and cars. And it just became another 3-day weekend. Today, we will be reading the names of people who died while serving their country. Now, there's almost 190 names on this list. We compiled the list mainly for Greene County and particularly for Fairborn, but we also have the names of people who died as prisoners or were killed in action because we have their artifacts here. Some of us are part of Gold Star families. We have loved ones who died. We have friends who died, or we are friends of families who had someone who died in service, and their names will appear here as well. If there were any names that were omitted, that certainly wasn't an intentional act. Feel free to contact the museum if you know someone who should be on this list. And with that, I will start with the World War I names. From World War I, Jeremy M. Burlisle, Charles L. Charlton, George E. Dignam, who, by the way, was the first soldier from Bath Township to be killed in action in World War I. Ralph T. Harness, Herbert Height, John W. Shears, John C. Rome, Edgar G. Van Kirk, Clarence E. White. Beginning the list of World War II names: Chester L. Anderson, Guy M. Ankrum, James K. Armentrout, Lewis W. Baldwin, Lyman D. Barkalow, Edwin L. Boos, Eugene I. Bradshaw, Richard K. Redding, Charles L. Briley, Jr., Donald F. Brown, Vincent R. Brown, Richard L. Burkhart, Pete J. Camioni, Harold R. Cartwright, Junior T. Chenoweth, David W. Cherry, Lawrence H. Childs, Franklin L. Cornwell, Arthur C. Corson, Dallas Crockett, Robert J. Davis, William O. Dukeman, Claude DeSoto, Donald T. Drake, Oscar V. Ellison, Howard F. Fycote, Howard J. Flower, Robert R. Fudge, Oscar E. Geyer, Walter F. Green, Frank J. Yorey, William R. Hansey, Gene R. Hall, Philip H. Hazlitt, Reese Helton, Willard L. Hudson, Wayne D. Hook, John B. Howard, Mac Humphrey, William J. Kennedy, John J. Kinney, David C. Kinsig, Irvin E. Lang, Max E. Lining, Crampton B. Lott Jr., Herbert H. Mallow, Albert R. Markham. I now invite Bob Potts to come forward to continue the names from World War II.
Lawrence A. Martin, Harold O. Matthews, John W. Mendenhall, Jr., Eldon E. Mercer, John R. Merriman, Paul J. Miller, Carl J. Nagel, John H. Nelson, Leon E. Newbach, James J. Osborne, Glenn W. Pittman, Harry P. Posey, Donald D. Providence, Clarence J. Rashford, Francis H. Reed, Harvey R. Riley, Donald F. Roach, Leroy E. Sherry, Harold Shaw, William H. Shaw, Frederick A. Smith, Howard E. Smith, Ned E. Smith, Earl D. Spriggs, Jr., Robert L. Stanley, Elmer E. Stallings, Roger M. Thomas, Clarence D. Toll, Jr., James W. Travis, Forrest E. Trost, Charles L. Turner, John H. Turvey, Gus Broncos, Earl F. Walker, Rador Watkins, Albert Wine, Homer E. White, Jr., Robert F. Whitmore, Denver M. Whittington, Robert J. Wiseman. I will now read the names from the Korean War. Timothy Bell, James W. Byrd, Benny Carpenter, Robert L. Klein, William H. Edwards, Hubert T. Evans, Robert Farthing, Eugene C. Gill, Ralph H. Green, Wallace A. Hayslip, Frank H. Kennan, Jr., Alondo L. Mary, William J. Sharp, Mark L. Shields, William G. Schote, Clarence D. Stoneking, Ralph A. Screwwing, John F. Summers. I now invite Mark Conrad to come forward to read the names from the Vietnam War.
Charles S. Abel, Jack B. Beers, Kenneth R. Byrd, Robert M. Cochran, Floyd A. Deal, David A. Dye, Julian A. Fincher, Peter Godoy, John T. Gray, Robert R. Gregory, Michael D. Griffiths, William D. Grooms, Larry M. Kelly, Thomas W. Landrum, Sharon A. Lane, Joseph G. Guy LaPointe, Jr., Edward A. Lovell, Michael A. Manning, Leonard R. Martin, Thomas V. Mitchell, Kenneth E. Nance, Ronald M. Obenauer, Michael G. Paget, Larry J. Pepper, Edward L. Perry, William G. Phillips, Larry G. Pyle, Jimmy L. Reed, Emmanuel L. Saunders, Leslie B. Sayer, Charles E. Shelton, Donald E. Seaworth, Ronald D. Swinford, Arlie Terry, Charles E. Thomas, Jr., William R. Truitt, Stephen G. Williams, Harold L. Zug, Jr. I now invite Bob Potts to come forward to read the military operations other than war and other service names.
The 1983 bombing of Marine Barracks, Beirut, Lebanon, Bruce A. Hollingshead. 1983 invasion of Grenada, Kevin J. Lanning. The Global War on Terrorism, Ethan W. Biggers, Edward L. Brooks, Nicholas P. Brown, Derek C. Dixon, Dustin R. Fitzgerald, Travis L. Griffin, James E. Groves III, Adam R. Johnson, Keith Matt Moppin, Amy N. Pierce, Gustavo A. Rios Ordonez, Jesse D. Sherlow, David A. Scott, Jesse A. Snow, Gordon G. Solomon, Cameron H. Thomas, James P. White, Wesley R. Williams, Paul W. Rocky Zonowick. All other causes: Richard I. Fike, Dorothy C. Hansel, Anthony B. Huffman, Michael E. Huntington, Brian T. Knob, Michael C. Nom, Gavin W. Nolte, Ronald L. Poland, William J. Preston, Marion N. Rice, Matthew L. Stivers, Michael A. Trocano. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the final roll call.
All right, thank you, Bob. You just heard the names of the fathers and sons, brothers, mothers, daughters, sisters of 190 families for whom Memorial Day will be anything but happy. So we hope that over this coming weekend, in between the cookouts and the mattress commercials, that you'll take a few seconds to think about what these people gave up for us. Now, they may have gone to war and wanted to. They may have gone to war and absolutely not wanted to. But they went, they did their duty, and in some cases it cost them their lives. We owe them at least a few seconds of remembrance on Memorial Day. How else can we thank them? So please take a few minutes to remember one of them. We invite you to come by the Miami Valley Military History Museum and see their artifacts and read more in depth about some of these people and the sacrifices that they made for you. Thank you.